Look who we have here today. We have Paul Ginsberg, a dedicated Kriya Yogi from Austin, Texas. I know him from very long time right now. I've been amazed by his knowledge in Kriya Yoga and the dedications which we have. So let's go check with him and let's share some experience and knowledge from him today on this podcast. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you for having me.
How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing very well. I finished my Kriya Yoga practice about a half hour ago, so it's good.
Mhm. All right. So, Paul, if you could just share some lights on how you got into Hindu spirituality, especially the Kriya Yoga, being in a very orthodox American family setup. If you could.
Well, can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Go on, sir. Go on, sir.
Okay, good. Anyway, I've been, uh, I've been spiritual pretty much all my life since I was a child.
Hmm.
And I started reading voraciously when I was a teenager,
Hmm.
just interested in everything. Everything from Edgar Casey to the Bhagavad Gita, the whole thing, all of it.
Okay.
And I just had a, passionate need to know. And I read Autobiography of a Yogi uh, 3 or 4 times, and I
Wow.
had always recommended it to my daughter.
Hmm.
And on her, I think it was her 18th or 17th birthday,
Hmm.
I finally gave her a copy of it, and she read it. And uh, to my surprise, she said, "Oh, look, Paul, next month there's an initiation in Austin,
The
and
Kriya initiation,
a Kriya initiation." This was
wow,
in February 2010.
2010. Oh
And
my, yeah.
after Yogananda left his body,
Hmm.
I did not realize that there was still a living lineage. I thought the lineage had, at least for a living master, I thought the
Hmm.
lineage had died out. So I was excited to get the initiation.
Hmm.
And it was a wonderful experience for me.
Who initiated you, Paul?
It was Bhadrayu Baba. He
Hmm.
is a lovely Indian man, Indian American, who is now about 75.
Okay,
And last I saw him, he's been meditating 8 hours a day. So
eight hours.
he's become quite advanced.
Okay, all right. So you were saying, like, the starting of your spiritual journey is when you had uh, when you were reading Bhagavad Gita at your teenage, right? Can you just little bit talk about that? Little bit elaborate on that?
Well, I had already read quite a few metaphysical books,
Hmm.
and as soon as I read the Gita in translation, it was a Penguin classic, Juan Mascaro. And,
Oh.
it wasn't the best translation, but the man was
Hmm.
very sincere. He had a good
Hmm.
heart.
Hmm.
And I could understand immediately that this was a very profound, esoteric, metaphysical text.
Sure.
And I was very impressed by it. And I knew there was depths that I needed to try to understand.
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh, but
That's
I had
that.
read all sorts of spiritual texts and metaphysical texts, everything
Okay.
from Alice Bailey and the Theosophists, to Carl Jung. and everything. It was
Hmm.
just insatiable.
Hmm.
Now I hardly read at all.
How you drawn into the Hindu spirituality, Hindu way of life?
There seems to have been a pre-existing connection for me because as a child, I found myself able to do these rather complicated yogic poses, which, of course, as a child, I didn't know they were yoga.
Hmm. Hmm.
I was just doing them.
Okay.
And I could also sit for a long time. I
Hmm.
remember sitting in my in my older brother's room when he wasn't there, and
Hmm.
we had a beam of sunlight would come in at an angle, and you could see the suspended dust particles in
Hmm.
the sunbeam.
Okay.
And I would just sit there watching that for a
Hmm.
very long time. I don't know, an hour and a half. I mean,
Hmm.
that's not normal behavior for for a young kid.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would anyway. I was just saying that I was spiritual as a child,
Hmm.
and I would do yogic poses without knowing they were yogic.
Hmm.
And there was a sunlight beam that would come through my older brother's window when he wasn't there, and the dust particles would be suspended,
Hmm.
and I could just watch that for an hour and a half, which is not
Hmm.
usual behavior for a child.
Yeah.
So, I had the predisposition, surely.
So you feel that it is all carried over from your previous birth?
It must have been. It
Okay.
must have been.
Okay. What's your background, sir? Are you from a Catholic background or a Jewish background or what?
I'm from a Jewish family.
Jewish
We
family.
grew up in just outside of Manhattan,
Hmm.
and my family was kind of like Leave It to Beaver. It was.
Hmm.
I never heard my mother and father argue. I never heard a word of racism.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm very blessed with my mother and father. So when I was a teenager, I was the only kid I knew who didn't
Hmm.
hate either their mother or
Yeah.
father or both. I was the only one.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that brought you grow into different areas, right? That upbringing made you into look into
My
all.
family was not, yeah, my family was not religious. My
Hmm.
mother certainly believed in God,
Hmm.
um, but we weren't practicing Jews.
Okay.
Uh, so I never really, in my childhood, I wasn't encouraged or anything, but if I
Hmm.
were, I would have immediately caught fire. But
Hmm.
it had to wait until I was a little older.
Okay. Okay. All right. So coming back to the Kriya, so what is the kind of experience? So you said you had initiation right from 2010 onwards, correct? So
Yes, that's right.
what are your experience in Kriya Yoga and how Kriya has transformed your life?
Firstly, I was fortunate enough to have a second initiation, which I was not expecting. I brought
Hmm.
my wife to one of the very old original Kriya Vans,
Hmm.
Shuresh Kodolika,
Hmm.
a wonderful Indian man, an architect. And when she was getting initiated, I was invited up, and I
Hmm.
wasn't expecting it. And sure enough, one of the people in the in the in the in the house there had extra flowers. So
Flower.
I've had a double dose.
Hmm.
Anyway, Kriya Yoga has basically allowed me to migrate from my head to my heart, so that
Okay.
these days I feel I'm more a bhakti than anything else.
Hmm.
But having said that, all the great bhaktis or yananis, they all seem to end up in the same place. I mean,
Hmm.
Yogananda was one of the great bhaktis. He was called a Prem avatar, which I think is accurate. And what did he not know by
Hmm.
the time he left his body? He knew everything.
Yep. So he's the
So
one basically was just preaching the entire US. I mean, he's the one who started the Kriya Yoga and introduced Kriya to the West, correct?
that's correct. Yogananda was the first one to bring yoga
Hmm.
to the West in 1920, 21.
Hmm.
Uh, the only Indian saint and yogi that had come before that was Swami Vivekananda, the
Hmm.
foremost disciple of Sri Ramakrishna
Yeah.
Paramahamsa. And he was a giant himself, and he
Hmm.
taught Advaita, Vedanta.
Hmm.
And America probably was not ready for yoga until
Hmm.
Yogananda came. And when he came, he had them sitting on the, church pews and benches, because Americans at that time were not used to sitting cross-legged. That's
Translate.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So you think that America has embraced more Kriya than the Vedanta, which Vivekananda was just trying to introduce, right? So Kriya
Yes, I,
has
I I think
a
that's true.
take.
There's all sorts of yoga being practiced in America,
Hmm. Hmm.
and there's all sorts. And some of it is not meditative.
Hmm.
People want to be healthy, and they want to have a nice body. But
Hmm.
there is also a number, a growing number of people who are into the
Spiritual
meditative
yoga. Spiritual
aspects
yoga. Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
whole thing,
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
and the
Physical yoga
breath
and spiritual
control.
mental yoga. Correct.
Well, that's right. That's right. I'm not putting down hatha yoga. It's a beautiful practice, but
Hmm.
you can go much deeper. Although even hatha yoga
Hmm.
has depths. I've listened to Swamiji Atmavidyananda lecture on that aspect of yoga, and even the yoga teachers in the room,
Hmm.
had their mouths open at how much
Okay.
depth there was even in hatha yoga. So
Hmm.
I respect all traditions,
Okay.
but Kriya
So.
is a wonderful path,
Mhm.
and it's part, I believe, part of the Sanatana Dharma. In
Mhm.
other words, it was pre-existing. It was not created by man.
Sure,
So
sure.
our Guruji um, was, before he was initiated, or after he
Mhm.
was initiated, he was an economist for the Indian government. And so I asked him a question once.
Okay.
That you would put the little slips with your question in the box, and he would read them. And I
Mhm.
said, if economics is the dismal science, as it's known,
Mhm.
because they're always wrong, most of them
Mhm.
are almost always wrong, is Kriya its opposite? And he answered, Kriya has no opposite.
Mhm.
I said, okay, that makes it very clear. Kriya
Okay.
has no opposite. So it's part of the Sanatana Dharma, which was reintroduced to the world through Lahiri Mahasaya, through Babaji
Hariom.
Maharaj,
Mhm.
who is considered a Maha Avatar,
Babaji.
Mahamuni. Anything about him, and it's all true as long as it's positive and spiritual.
Okay. Okay. So coming back, okay, we will go into the lineage later. So coming back to the, there is a kind of echo kind of thing.
Anyway, Kriya Yoga is it's regarded as a scientific practice,
Mhm.
and I believe that that is absolutely correct because the results are verifiable and repeatable.
Mhm.
And there have been many yogis created through the practice. So in that sense, it's definitely scientific,
Okay. So
and
my
it's
actually my next question to you was that actually, uh,
yeah.
why without me asking, you have answered that. Why Kriya Yoga is called as scientific yoga? So, do you think we do a lot of practice in terms of the prana flow? Do you think it's because of that it is saying as scientific, or do you think any other reasons for it?
I think it's a complete practice
Hmm.
which will create bodily health, mental health, and spiritual advancement.
Spiritual
It's a
advancement.
very balanced technique
Hmm.
which
Hmm.
includes different aspects. Um, the bow was Hari Harananda had said that it's very important. You know, it opens up the channels, the sushumna and the
Hmm.
ida and the pingala. But there are other practices that we do
Hmm.
effective in um, moving us forward. In
Hmm.
Kriya, we're taught to hear the divine sound, see the divine light, and feel the divine vibration. For myself, I feel most of the vibration in the head and the lights. You know, I can see in the differing chakras.
Hmm.
It's becoming more clear.
Hmm.
And I feel that the Agna chakra, the third eye, is slowly opening and becoming more active.
So, are you saying that once you open your chakras and the third eyes and all those things, you would be in a position to see different realms and different dimensions and stuff like that?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. No doubt.
Okay.
Absolutely. The spiritual progression uh, is multidimensional. I mean,
Hmm.
we sometimes feel we're stuck in this body, and it feels very constricting because if
Hmm.
you know that you're more than the
Hmm.
body, and anyone who's intelligent understands they're more than the body,
Yeah.
uh, this is just a way to connect with that aspect of ourselves, which is much more.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Gotcha. So, what is your? So, I heard that there is a acres of land and there is an ashram kind of a thing in Texas. Can you just talk about that?
We are extremely fortunate in Texas
Hmm.
to have a 7 or 8 year old where the foundation day is later September
Hmm.
after the ashram in Miami, which is the
Okay.
home ashram.
Hmm.
And we are very fortunate that
Hmm.
we have 104 acres and
104.
a bunch of Brahmin cows
Hmm.
and a bunch of Brahmin cows. Um, so Guruji absolutely loves coming here
Okay.
because his love for the Brahmin cows is
Hmm.
just unbelievably deep
Hmm.
and palpable.
Hmm. So who takes
When
care of all
Guruji
this
came to him,
farmland and the cows and all?
well, this is a this temple of compassion is the
Hmm.
fulfillment of Guruji Hariharananda's dream of having a
Hmm.
place where the lady Kriyavans could come and
Hmm.
practice until they leave their bodies.
Okay.
And so I've been involved in this project right
Hmm.
from the beginning, before it was even born, um,
Hmm.
since I have some experience in real estate. And
Okay.
so I've seen the whole thing grow, and it's becoming great and greater every year.
Hmm. Hmm. And I could see
It's a
that.
beautiful place.
Yes, sir. So I could see
It's
that
a
there is
just
a lot of centers around the world, right? Not just in USA. We have in Netherlands, Austria, Sydney, all these places.
Kriya Yoga has become very much an international organization,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
it's been expanding.
Okay.
Now, Swami Atmavidyananda, he's
Hmm.
the president of the American operations, and he's becoming quite an advanced yogi himself. And
Okay.
he once asked Guruji uh, another another ashram, and Guruji said, "It's not me. It's not
Hmm.
me. It's the masters. You know, he's not he's not directing it. It's the masters that are directing it."
Hmm. Hmm. Okay.
So yes, we are worldwide. We're in Brazil, we're in Colombia, a new one in Poland, and there's one
Mhm.
in Tattendorf, Austria, and
Okay.
a new one in Australia.
Okay.
And yeah, beautiful,
Sure. Sure.
beautiful.
And Paul, just being curious, I heard that people that there are few gurus, especially who are into Kriya Yoga and all. They say is that once you start doing the Kriya Yoga, you can maintain your young look. I would say. So is that true, or is that something anything scientific behind it?
Which look did you say?
Young look, they can still maintain their young look for a long time.
Um, I don't know how to answer that specifically, but I will tell you that
Hmm.
it's an utterly
The aging,
transformative
it says they are anti-aging
practice.
kind of a thing. Yeah.
Okay, anti-aging.
Yeah.
Um, well, there have been many yogis and many Taoists from China who've
Hmm.
lived 2, 3, 4, 500 years old. I
Hmm.
mean, this is known. This is not speculation.
Okay.
So, Kriya Yoga can definitely extend your life. And
Hmm.
there is a yoga procedure by which the very, very, very advanced people, souls, can actually renew their bodies.
Okay.
I've heard and seen that process described.
Hmm.
And Babaji himself must be
2000 years
2,000
old.
years old.
Heard about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we believe, some of us believe, that he was the Param Guru for
Hmm.
Yeshua, Isha,
Isha.
Jesus, as he
Isha.
was
Yeah.
known in India.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I believe that,
Sure. Sure.
based on my
So.
studies and reading and all the
Mhm.
rest of it.
Okay. And I even heard there is. I even had a chance to speak with.
If you're a Christian, Kriya Yoga will make you a better Christian. If you're a Jew, a Muslim, it does not matter. Whatever your belief, you know, it will make you better at whatever tradition that you happen to belong to or belong in. Now, of course, it's in the context of the Vedantic culture, so that's only natural.
Hmm.
But it will create all around health, and I do believe it can um, it can extend life, and it can extend vitality, and it
Okay.
can increase uh, someone's joy and clarity of mind.
Hmm.
All of the above. It's a
Okay.
wonderful thing.
Okay. And I also heard from somebody from the doctor community who's practicing Kriya Yoga. I heard from them saying, like, it regulates the heartbeats, and it plays a major role in breaking down your glucose level, and the entire metabolism of your body, stuff like that. Um,
Yeah,
that is something.
meditation generally has been shown through many studies to
Hmm.
be very beneficial.
Okay.
Swami Atmavidyananda, he
Hmm.
could speak for 3 days straight on the scientific aspect
Hmm.
of Kriya Yoga and meditation specifically. Uh,
Sure.
like most of the monks, he's an engineer or
Hmm.
was an engineer, and he was told by Guru Dev to make a
Hmm.
success of himself first and then come back. So he
Okay.
did, and he was very successful.
Sure. Sure.
And yes,
So before we close,
brilliant man.
thought of having a half an hour video today. Maybe we can come back in more episodes with
Yeah,
crystal clarity on Kriya Yoga. So before we close,
right.
do you want to say something to people who are getting into spirituality, especially in the U.S. and in American community?
Well, you're very blessed if you are attracted to this path because we have an authentic living master, a Paramahamsa.
Hmm.
That's pretty rare. There are a lot of fakes out there.
Hmm.
There are a lot of people who will say spiritual things,
Hmm.
but they're not the real deal. So this lineage is blessed to have a true master, which we're going to see, who we're going to see later in September. He travels around.
Hmm.
His life is service, and he has amazing energy, and is probably the most joyful person I've ever seen in my life.
So you are talking about Prajnananda, who is the current person in that lineage, right?
That's right.
And he is
That's
traveling
right.
from India to
I'm talking
US.
about
Yeah.
Pragananda,
Okay.
who we call him Guruji or Baba,
Hmm. Hmm.
and he when you're in his presence in darshan, take his darshan,
Hmm.
he will look at everybody in the room. He's transmitting.
Okay.
So be as open and receptive as you possibly can.
All right. Okay. So it was so exciting, and there is a lot of knowledge which you have shared. This is our first talk. Maybe we'll come back with more levels of episodes like this. We would,
I would love to do that.
yeah, I'd be delighted to get to know about your knowledge in Kriya Yoga in future also. So thanks for your time today, Paul, and we'll see you again. All
Thank you
right.
so much. I'm
Thank you
also
very much.
interested in all your knowledge as well.
Sure, sure. So it's we will share the knowledge, and maybe once in a while for the
Yes,
next program we will meet up and we'll discuss. Okay.
that would be very good. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Gino.
Have a great day, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.